All right. I think this is us for tonight. Cometa was not able to make it, so we will get started here. And we got Kelly McMorrow in here to take the minutes. So she's just messaged us here and said hello, that she's on. So we will we'll begin here. I have a quick meeting intro to read for all of us attending on the panel, and then any residents that would like to attend and view the meeting as well. In keeping with the ongoing emergency order from Governor Charlie Baker to limit gatherings and maximize social distancing, and under legislation passed to address remote board meetings during the emergency declaration, this meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by the following board commission members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count toward quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. To use Zoom, you'll need to download the Zoom application and create an account, or use one of the call-in numbers listed on the agenda. You will need the webinar ID to join by phone only. While conducting meetings remotely, we endeavor to keep meeting operations as close to our standard procedures as possible. However, use of this platform will necessitate some additional meeting protocols. While the board members will be on video and audio, public participants will join the webinar as an attendee, meaning they are muted and with no video feed from them. During the public testimony portion of the meeting, members of the public can be recognized by using the raise hand function found under participants from Zoom, or make a request through the Q&A function. If you are joining only by phone, you can press, you can press *9 to raise your hand. If an applicant wishes to display materials, please make the request of the chair and the email materials to the board staff for sharing on the screen. When starting testimony or sharing testimony, please state your name and address for the record. There is a markup function in Zoom which will allow you to call out specific areas of presentation materials. As in any public meeting, indecent behavior will not be tolerated, and anyone who abuses use of the meeting platform will be terminated from the meeting. Business will be handled at the times indicated on the agenda. Business not concluded in the allotted time will be tabled to the end of the meeting to allow for timely logins and remote attendance. Board members are asked to announce themselves when making a motion and second, so that it will be clear to the audience and the minute takers who made motions. All votes will be made by roll call. When all business indicated on the agenda has been completed, the members will vote to adjourn the meetings, signaling the end of the meeting and termination of the ECAT recording. All participants will be disconnected from the webinar at that time. So being that this is our first meeting, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, and I'll be kind of just running through the agenda as we go forward tonight and kind of build some structure to this newly formed committee. So the first item on the agenda is introductions. I just figure it might be nice for us to just quickly get to know one another, just a brief, your name and brief background history, how you kind of find yourself or see yourself fitting into this committee, and maybe what you're looking forward to with this committee, something along those lines. So I will get us started. My name is Corey Ahonen. I'm the Deputy Director of Health and Community Services, formerly the Veteran Services Officer for the town of Easton. I came to Easton in early 2018. I am an Air Force veteran, and I'm looking forward to using this, my involvement in this committee as another great resource to help our residents who are in financial need. So with that, I will pass it along. Scott, would you like to go next? You're next on my.
Sure. Been a resident of Easton since 1995. Can't believe we've been here as long as we have. I mean, it's just impossible how quickly time is flying. I'm a state certified appraiser. Actually the chairman of the Easton Assessing Board. Have been on the board, I believe, for the last 11 years. I'm also an assessor with the town of Duxbury, Massachusetts. I'm actually on this board. Again, I know how important it is and how much people are struggling, not just in this town, but believe it or not, in Duxbury and other towns and communities as well. So this is just basically a way to, to give back and to help the people that are truly in desperate need of some help. So I'll do all I can.
Definitely. Thank you, Scott.
Sure.
Linda, could I ask you to go next?
Sure. My name is Linda Hawks. I'm the treasurer collector for the town of Easton. I'm on the committee because I have to be, but I'm happy to be here, and I'm interested in seeing how this goes. I live in a small town called Mendon, which is about 40 miles northwest of Easton. And I was on the same taxation aid committee in Mendon as well. Wasn't able to see it through to anything, but was instrumental in forming the committee, forming the rules, getting it sort of going. Just never saw the first disbursements to any of the residents, but it's a great idea and really comes in handy.
That's great. Thanks. We'll take any advice you have along the way. So that'll be useful. Andrew, could I ask you to share next, please?
Sure. My name is Andrew Fleischer. I'm relatively new to the town of Easton, about a year and a half now, but I love it here and I'm familiar with the town. I have a background in corporate tax, sales tax, property tax, for very large companies, CVS most recently. And I also have a background, my bachelor's was in political science. So when I saw this opportunity come up, I thought it was a perfect way for me to give back and to get involved in the town. There's nothing really more noble than giving tax breaks to people who deserve it. So I look forward to getting to work on that.
Definitely. Thank you, Andrew. How about Megan?
Hi there. I don't know why I'm showing up twice here. I don't know if you can see my face or not. We've lived in Easton since 1999. We've raised our 3 kids here since then. And the reason I want to get involved is because I was a political science major as well. I did work in the Massachusetts State House for several years after I graduated. And politics is always something that has interested me. And I also do want to give back to the town that we love and have lived in for, 22 years or however many years it's been. And I think it's a great idea to give back, give tax abatements or give relief to the people in this town that really, really need it.
Definitely. And that's kind of, we'll just to real quick to chime in on that point. That's where this committee kind of comes in, where all other resources have been exhausted. And this is that'll be kind of a caveat. We'll all decide as a committee if that's how we want to frame it. But what I see in a lot of other communities, that's pretty much where it lands on the spectrum of services is, after we've exhausted the resources from the Veteran Services or from the Council on Aging or from the food pantry and others of the like. So thank you, Megan. Can we hear from Cometa?
Hi, I'm Cometa Mildred. I'm very new to the town of Easton. I've just been around for 7 months. So when I saw this, I was interested because I actually have a background in accounting. So I did accounting in college and I have interest in taxation and giving back to the community is something that I'm interested in. So that is why I decided to join this committee. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Cometa. I'm glad that you're here tonight and a part of this committee as well. So Kelly McMorrow is taking the minutes. She's actually unable to, the device she's using, the sound is not operational there. So she's going to be taking the minutes through listening to us. And she has said in the chat, I'm Kelly McMorrow and I work for the Council on Aging in Easton, and she is here to help and take the minutes. So we're happy to have Kelly as well. So that's great. So we will kind of segue into agenda number 2, the mission, right? So the purpose of the Taxation Aid Committee is to implement and administer the Senior and Disabled Taxation Relief Fund in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 60, Section 3D, as adopted by our town meeting in Easton on November 12th, 2019, for the purposes of defraying the real estate taxes of elderly and disabled persons of low income. That mission is derived from that MGL citation there, and I think I provided you all with the links and background on how this legislation has resulted in us all meeting here tonight in this committee. So if there are any questions on that, we can kind of we can bring them up now, or we can address them later. Does anybody have any questions regarding the mission here?
No.
Okay, good. So the next item on the agenda is to appoint chair and vice chair. New committee will need lay some foundation here, and just the goal of this first meeting is to just kind of lay the framework and get this committee up and running. So with that, is there anybody? So I'll say myself, Scott Timmelty, and Linda Hawks, we are all not able to fulfill these positions in any capacity due to our positions on this committee. So it is up to the three of you, Andrew, Megan, and Cometta, to establish your positions in those roles. Is anybody willing to step up to participate in one of those roles of chair or vice chair?
I would be willing to vice chair.
Vice chair? Okay, great. Awesome. So although we haven't established, how do we do here? Does anybody have any input on here before we've established the committee? Can we get someone to nominate Megan for the vice chair position?
I'll nominate Megan for the vice chair position.
Okay. Anybody second, Cometta?
I nominate Megan too for the vice chair position.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Very
Aye.
good. We have Megan has been nominated as the vice chair of the Taxation Aid Committee. Now, the position of chair, and I'll reiterate here, just kind of my role in this committee is to, I'll be helping along the way a lot to identify the individuals. Like they will be pretty well known to myself and my office before they come to our committee with their situation. So I just want to reiterate, if any of you are feeling unsure, if you want to maybe get involved in this type of role, or if you feel like you may not have the qualifications, or just be reassured that you're going to have help along the way. So don't feel like you're taking on too much by stepping up into one of these positions here. Would anyone like to step into the chair position? All right, we can table that for now.
Yeah.
What's that? Did someone speak up?
Well, I was, before Megan nobly volunteered to be vice chair, that was where I was thinking I would go as well. But if we need a chair, I can serve as chair.
We'd appreciate that.
I may need some assistance from the other members because I'm not familiar with the town politics or anything like that at the moment.
Andrew, I'd be more than willing to help you. I mean,
Yeah.
we could sort of have it be like a dual role, a dual.
Figure it out together. That's the spirit.
Yeah, and that's
I'm a team player guy, so I
great.
will do it.
Same here. I think
Thank
we'll
you,
be able to
Andrew.
figure it out.
So yeah, and that's the idea. I think I spoke to a couple of you prior. Basically, that's, I mean, the whole purpose of this committee is to help people, right? To help residents, and we're also going to help each other kind of work through this process. And I don't want, this will not be any heavy lift on any one of us. We should all be working together pretty well to get the job done and fulfill that mission that I just read. So Andrew, that's great. Thank you so much for volunteering to step into that position. So we will take another vote there. Can somebody motion or nominate Andrew for the chair position?
I nominate Andrew for the chair position.
Okay, great.
I nominate Andrew for the chair position.
Great. So Megan nominated and Cometa second. So we have Andrew Fleischer, who is the chair of the Taxation Aid Committee, and Megan Ferguson, vice chair. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Good. That's great. So, and as you know, we can kind of tweak these things as we go, and we'll all build the structure as we like, as we want to see it fit. I just think those two positions are essential, at least for tonight, and to begin the committee. So now part of the other web link I sent you was the tasks that have been laid out for us to complete as a committee, and this is also found on the Town of Easton website under the Taxation Aid Committee. So the first task here is to establish rules and procedures to carry out the provisions of this general law, Chapter 60, Section 3D, which is the Taxation Aid Committee and the fund that goes along with it, including an application process, eligibility requirements, disbursement of funds, and ongoing maintenance. I think, so for the application process, I've kind of taken the liberty of doing some research and not reinventing the wheel for us, and kind of just pulling a couple different options that I'll plan on sending out to you, so we can, we can think about it a little bit and see which direction we want to go. Or certainly if anyone has any input on if we want to start from scratch, that's fine as well. But the two options I kind of came up with, one is a little more restrictive in the scope, right? And this was adopted from obviously from a pre-existing application that was out there in rotation, which that has its pros and cons. And then there's another one that's has a lot more latitude, it's less restrictive, but that also has its pros and cons. So what I'm going to do is I am going to send those out to you so you can read over, and we can discuss at our next meeting which one we'd like to go with. And I guess my only points would be just to think about it like that. Like, how is this going to be in action? We don't want to have to unnecessarily approve or deny people based off of the language on the application. And then we'll need to develop some language for a website description to kind of fulfill this task A, we'll call it, establish the rules and procedures. So I think that's something that we'll take a little bit of time with, but we should probably have developed over the next couple months or so. And then Linda, do you have any input on like how the ongoing maintenance of funds, different ways that we could kind of build out?
Yes, once it gets sort of rolling, and as we sort of roll out the application process and firm up all the rules about it, we can send out a flyer with all of the real estate tax bills. There's just a 1/3 page that allows people to donate to the fund, and they can do that. Sending it out with the tax bills is a great way of getting to all of the homeowners. It misses the apartment residents, but we can do that, or we can send it out with excise bills. The excise tax bills also go to apartment dwellers as well as homeowners. So we could send out a little flyer with the tax bills. Also, while we develop public outreach, I have found out that we will be able to accept payments through our online payment processing center. So just like you would go online and pay your real estate or excise tax bill, you can also go online and select to make a donation to the senior relief or the senior and veterans relief fund or whatever we want to call it.
Yep.
And that just gets automatically deposited into an accounting account. It's not a physical account. There's no physical bank account that we need to keep for this. It's just a line item in accounting, really. So every time somebody makes a deposit, it goes to that account in accounting so that we have instant access to what the balance in the account is. And
Okay.
it also, what it will not give, and this actually is sort of a benefit, is it will not, without further research, give us who donated how much. And that actually what I've found is a lot of people want to donate anonymously.
Yes.
So it kind of protects
I agree.
that person. We can get the names of the people, definitely with the online portal. I can find out who made all the payments, but it's not something that's readily available.
What about sending out the flyer with the town census every year? Can we do that?
With the town census, now because I won't speak for the town clerks, I know the clerks have used our bills to send flyers out with, whether it's a trash bill or a water bill, but we've never used theirs. And I can't say for sure that a census, because it's a sort of a legal document, might have to follow different rules. But I mean, but yes, there's that option if it's available, but I would have to speak with the town clerk.
Okay.
I have a question for Linda as well while we're on this subject. Would it be possible, or is it something worth considering to put it physically on either the excise tax bills or other bills where you can have a suggested donation or just a box where they can simply write in the amount and add it to the total, or is that going to make things messy?
The language in Mass General Law about that actually specifies that the law allows for a checkoff box to be put on the bill. However, because real estate bills go to a lockbox service, that it does not have the capability of separating a real estate tax from a different tax, then we cannot do that. It doesn't know how to read, the lockbox service does not know how to read that. So that's why we've went back to where we've defaulted to the things, the separate flyers with the bills.
Yeah, but the flyer itself, perhaps it's just semantics, but the flyer itself could, in its way, just be a coupon that you fill out. And you either send a separate check or something along those lines.
It would be designed to make it easy for people to say, well, I'm paying my escrow company or something takes care of my taxes, but I want to send in a check for, $50 or $100, whatever, $10, to the relief fund. And then they send it in with that and we know what it is. It's like a remittance coupon.
That's nice. I think that may also almost serve us better than the checkbox, because the checkbox may potentially be missed on the bill, whereas the flyer is a separate piece. Hopefully it's recognized more prominently than just skimming through the bill, look at how much
especially if we make it a bright yellow or orange for the town, for Easton. People
definitely.
We may still run into the lockbox issue with the flyer, though. I would think. People wanting to write one check, rather than two checks, but
and that I don't know what to say about that because I've not encountered it, but I mean, invariably we get everything at the lockbox, dog licenses and the census And if, to be fair though, at the lockbox, if the numbers don't match up exactly, they send it back to us and we have to handle it manually. So there's a sort of a stop there that we could do. I just don't want to encourage it happening.
Yeah, it would make more work for your office for sure.
Can I ask you a question, Linda?
Sure.
I'm jumping ahead, but well, you've gone through this in Mendon. You had brought up putting it in potentially with the excise tax bills, so we could actually get the people that we'd get everybody in the town, anybody that had a registered vehicle.
Correct.
Am I correct, Corey? Maybe you can stop me if I'm going down the wrong road here. Wouldn't this whole basis of what we're doing is to help people out with their real estate tax bill?
It
I see where
is.
it's going.
But I think, so I'm going to get to, and you do bring up a good point, Scott, but when we get down to the task C, which Linda, I apologize. I know you need to jump off here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Task C is actually raising a public awareness campaign, and that could involve getting creative. And I mean, this is something I'll certainly be mentioning anytime I discuss something with somebody who's in the need of financial need, or anytime I have an opportunity to kind of plug this type of fund.
Sure.
So I don't know. I mean, it may be a good thing to, diversify our sources of funding.
Right.
But
I mean, the only reason I'm saying this is because I know I'm not so much sure about this in Easton, Linda. You'd probably be better to answer this. We have a senior work-off program in Easton, I assume, correct?
yes, I administer that program.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do, yeah.
I didn't know that, Corey. Thank you.
No problem.
But something like that, those funds wouldn't necessarily have to go to the reduction in their real estate taxes, correct? Or
the tax work-off?
Yeah, senior
yes,
work-off.
It does.
It does.
It does. So, and I apologize. I'm going to Linda has a hard stop here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's okay.
But it was
Thank
nice
you so
meeting
much.
everybody.
Nice meeting you, Linda.
Thank
Can't
you
wait to see it again.
for making this work, Linda. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye. All right, so we will continue on. I'm glad everybody ended up, like Cometa and Linda ended up being able to come on. I just wanted our first meeting to get rolling here. So,
sure.
But yeah, so back to this conversation here.
Just to let you know, I only have about 15 more minutes too, and then I have.
That's okay. That's okay. This was just intended to kind of lay the groundwork. Yeah, so we shouldn't go too much further here tonight, just because the bottom line is there is no money in the fund at this point. So that's where we're going to kind of I'm going to work with Linda to get some options, and then we will discuss and decide together which option we will roll out. But yes, Scott. So the senior and veteran tax work off, those hours are directly used to credit for property tax. They have to actually own the property, or their name has to be on the deed. It's only relative to that property. So,
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I do know families in town who rent, and because they have voted for, the tax increases for the schools and things like that, I do think that they would be willing, and I know several that would be willing to contribute to this fund. So that's why I think we should try and include renters as well.
Yeah,
definitely.
Actually,
they just don't know for whatever reason, but they do take, they take our tax dollars to schools and all that stuff. So I know that they would definitely.
I think this year, after the year we've had in 2020, especially, I've seen a lot of, half the mail I'm getting is donations to the Veterans Office, and then to other buildings in my office, or other offices in the building I work in too, which is the houses, the Council on Aging, Recreation, and the Health Department is included in there as well. So yeah, I think we should capitalize all options of opportunities to get donations here. Would that, I mean, does that kind of going back to the point you brought up, Scott, does that, I mean, you obviously brought that up for a reason. I don't want you to.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Well, see, I'm always thinking, because I'm in the assessing arena, so it's always real estate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what Megan just brought up was absolutely perfect. I mean, if we have people that don't own their own home that do want to donate to this fund, I think that's absolutely fantastic. I really do. I think it's great. And Corey, I mean, I know that you and I spoke about that one issue on the veterans thing. As I said, I'm all for the veterans, and how we can raise money for that. So whatever we can do, I think that'd be great.
Definitely. So let's see. So we discussed that I'll send out a couple of options of templates that we can work with, and we can obviously go through them line by line at a later meeting and tweak them however we like. But I think there's no sense in reinventing the wheel when this has been done. A couple of these applications have been in use since the late 90s, early 2000s. So, this committee and this program and fund is nothing new to the Commonwealth. So I think we should probably just try to learn from the way things have been done and past mistakes, things like that. So
I'm in agreement with that. We don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Good.
Seems like a waste of time.
Yeah.
Good. I agree too. Yeah, I agree with that as well. So, so examine ways of raising revenue. We kind of basically covered that, kind of naturally segued into that with our discussion just there. So I think we need to follow up. We'll be following up with Linda on the different options we have, like you said, font choice, color choice, size of the paper, how it's folded in there, things like that, and really get the details down so we can roll this thing out as soon as possible, whether that's first quarter. Yep. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know what the etiquette would be to ask a question.
Absolutely.
When do the excise tax bills go out this year? That would have been a question for Linda.
Yeah, that is a question
it's
for
probably
Linda.
like March, right?
That is a question for Linda. I live in Norton, so would be the wrong person to ask, unfortunately.
It is around March.
Okay.
It is around March.
So I'm wondering if we should think of that as a we can decide at a later point if that's what we want to do or not, but maybe we should set that as a goal, a timeline for us to decide how we want to do this, because we can't, all the other work that we're going to do is going to be moot unless we can start getting these out. And I think making that deadline of getting these included with March, if we decide to do that, it would be our first goal, something we should work towards.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a great point. First goal should be to get the.
We can make all the other decisions, while money's still coming in, hopefully.
True.
But yeah, I think that, and another item on the agenda, not to get ahead of ourselves, was meeting schedules. So I think while I think the design of this committee was to be more ad hoc, we may want to meet again soon, just keeping that in mind, that we want to aim to get fundraising going as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think
we'll need to find out when the date is for the excise tax bills to actually go out. And then it may be sort of a scramble to get a flyer together.
Yeah,
it needs to be perfection with font and all that stuff. It just needs to be getting the word out.
Get the point out.
Yeah, get the word out.
Right.
Yeah.
Perhaps we could send that out twice a year, once with a tax bill and once with a excise tax, real estate tax bill or excise tax bill. Twice a year, that would be our biggest, drop of information but obviously there's other ways to get information out too.
Will you see Linda in the office, Corey?
Yeah, I'll send out an email and I'll copy you all so we can get a conversation going about how, what are the next steps to get that information out. And I'll copy you, Megan and Andrew on there, and Scott, if you'd like to be on there as well, I will.
Sure.
I just figured, yeah, I'll copy us all and we'll get on that. And yeah, I agree, Andrew. That's a great point. We're going to want to, if we're going to do it simultaneously, I think that's exactly what it needs to be, because once money starts becoming available in that fund, we need to be prepared to issue if a request comes up. And we can't just make up the rules as we go, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So it will have to be we will have to meet more than, I think the original intent, I agree, was just to meet. The regulation is biannually and to report to the select board annually, that's great. Realistically, it'll be determined by the amount of applications we're receiving, when they're being received, and then also deadline crunches like this, trying to prepare for this, March. We'll confirm, but we think it's March. So great. So I think we should, we've pretty much covered everything on the agenda now that we've brought it to the meeting schedule here. Does anybody have any suggestions on when we should meet next?
Well, I mean, we need the answer for when the excise tax bills go out, and then I
Yeah.
can go from there. I
And
mean,
it's
I'm more than willing to meet, this first year, getting this up and running, more than biannually or whatever.
Yep.
As long as we're, moving things forward.
I mean, I'm thinking it might be smart of us to try to set a meeting, maybe the second week of February, because obviously we'll have an answer. I'll have an answer probably tomorrow, late tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah. So depending on that, I mean, who knows how long it takes them to get the excise tax bills out. I don't know really how that process works.
Exactly. It's not just when they go out. It's
maybe
what our deadline would be to include something in.
Yeah,
Right.
like a week and a half from now, we meet up again and see if we can expedite that.
Okay.
The only thing I can ask Corey is I normally have assessor board meetings on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Tonight just happens to be a little bit of a fluke, but
Okay.
If we can just do it maybe any other day during the week, that would be great.
Okay. Are any times preferred by anyone? Is this an okay time? Is it later, earlier?
I like this time.
Yeah.
I think Monday nights are good to meet. Beginning of the
Okay.
week, set your agenda.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But I am a
Yeah,
realtor, and my schedule is always subject to change. Always.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine.
I have to take meetings with my clients if that's
Sure.
what it takes. But I'll try to tell everybody ahead of time.
Andrew, did you have a preference on?
Not really. Any day a week is fine with me.
Okay.
5
Well-
might be a little early, but I can always log back into work afterwards, which is what I'm going to do tonight. So
Okay.
I'm pretty flexible.
I appreciate it.
So we'll see what everybody else can do, and that'll work for me.
Okay. So did we set, I think it would be smart to probably call a meeting. Would it next Monday, 5 p.m. be acceptable?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Assuming we get the response.
Well, she'll know
Yeah.
what it is. Linda will know what it is immediately. It's
I'll
probably
have an answer from her tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we will communicate by email, but then I'm hoping we'll have to obviously we'll want to just meet to kind of button everything up before and kind of maybe assign tasks or figure out how we divide the work. But yeah, I think we made some good progress tonight. And my role was just to facilitate until someone took over as chair and vice chair. So, but I'm here with, along the whole way. So please don't feel like anything's being dumped off on anybody or anything like that. But Andrew, I'll let you preside over the next meeting. If you're comfortable, we can talk Before
Talk
then,
about that for sure.
what's that?
We can discuss that for sure. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, don't worry. We'll help each other out. And I mean, I'm by no means, master of any of these things. We just kind of do the best we can through all this. So, and the
Yeah.
bottom line, like I said, this committee the purpose is to help people. So, if ever there was a committee that should be understanding of helping each other out, it should be us. So, we'll hope for that and hope for the best. So, I will email, like I said, I'm going to email Linda and we'll include you all. And then I will send out an invite for our Monday meeting proposed for now. If we need to change the meeting date or time, I'll communicate that through email. Does that work for
Perfect.
everybody?
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
With Monday, let's
Thank you
just
all.
try and get the whole, if we can get the whole group together on Monday, and if not, then we can talk about another day.
Okay.
Be my
Yeah.
suggestion.
I think that's the number one. That's going to be the number one challenge with, any volunteer situation here. We got to make the best of everyone's schedules, but I agree. We'll definitely try to go for full attendance. Does anybody else have anything to add?
No.
Well, it was nice to meet you all, and thank you for your time. I do need to jump off though.
Okay. It's nice to meet
Nice
you
meeting
all
you,
as
Megan.
well.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Good
Do we
night.
need to
And
move
ladies.
to adjourn?
Yeah. So can we
Yeah,
get a motion
meeting
to adjourn?
I motion to
Second.
adjourn.
My second.
Second.
Okay. Andrew motion, Megan second. Meeting
Yeah.
adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.